Hey, all you scholars out there. Welcome. I know it's been a minute, but here we're continuing on your personal kingdom. Before we get into your personal kingdom, today we are sponsored by mystarsandplanets.com. Go to mystarsandplanets.com for personalized astrology gifts, as well as other cool t-shirts and things are being added continually. So check them out, favorite them, follow them, and help support them and all your astrology needs through mystarsandplanets.com. All right, now getting into it. The personal kingdom, your personal kingdom, my personal kingdom, all the areas and realms of influence and control that you have. So, what is a kingdom? A country, state, or territory ruled by a king or a queen. So for our purposes and things that we're going to discuss, a territory is anything you have the ability to influence or control. So we're talking your realm of influence, your sphere of influence, as Rufus Opus talks about it. Inside his book, The Seven Spheres, I really highly recommend it. I'll link it down below. And he talks about the sphere of influence. And it's something I've been saying for years, and I didn't realize that this was a thing in the occult. And this, my stupidity is your guys' education. You know, I've always told people, hey, that's outside my realm of influence. That's outside my realm, right? So things that I can't directly change or help influence to be changed or have action upon is outside my realm of influence. So even things with semi-control are inside your realm of influence. And you'll think about when you make a decision to go out to eat, the food you want is inside your realm of influence. I'm craving McDonald's, I'm craving Wendy's, or I'm craving steak. That's your decision is inside your realm of influence. So when you go to those places through your realm of influence and support them monetarily through your realm, they are now part of your kingdom. And I just want to make that clear right now because it'll make more sense here in a little bit. So you are a king or queen in your kingdom. So now act like it. We're all kings. We're all kings or queens inside our realm of influence. That is our kingdom. Some people have lots of land in their kingdom. They have lots of ability in their kingdom. Other people, their kingdoms are kind of small, and that's okay. Don't compare your kingdom to another kingdom. You need to compare your kingdom to how you want your kingdom to be, not how other kingdoms are. So keep that in mind too, and start acting like a damn king or queen, because you are, and I will follow you up and make sure you are, because we all are. All right, I think we need that more now than ever. So when you're thinking about your kingdom, you're thinking about how your realm of influence works throughout this topic. Think about the infinite game. There's another good book called The Infinite Game. I recommend everyone to read as well. And the concept is that there's finite and there's infinite games. A finite game has scores and has a clearly defined victor or objective. Where an infinite game, it doesn't have an end. There could be many players that are both known and unknown, many teams known and unknown. So in this situation, many kingdoms, both known and unknown, many realms of influence that we don't know about. And these are all jockeying for advancement in their own kingdoms. And this is life. Life is a game. And do not fool yourself thinking that life is not a game. It is 100% a game. None of us get out of alive, but life's a game. And that's why life is an infinite game. Because we don't know the end date. We don't know what the score is. The score doesn't matter in the end. It's the long game, okay? So you have to think long term when you're thinking about your kingdom, your realm of influence. The game can be played with or without you, so don't get all ego-based. Don't be like, my kingdom is the best kingdom, and I have so much rulership. Be like, no, bro. Just deal with you. You work your kingdom, you play your kingdom's game, and you don't get in that ego trip of comparing your kingdom to another kingdom and whose kingdom's better, right? You worry about your own kingdom. And this will make more sense here in a minute. And it's a kingdom, not a roadhouse. Okay? A roadhouse is a small little inn type scenario in a very distant area that caters to people that are passing by. That's their job, right? That's a small niche community of people caring to others who travel through you. You are a kingdom. You are to gain your influence. You are to build your influence to where people settle around you and build their influence upon your influence, right? So you're a kingdom. You're not a roadhouse or a brothel, if you want to use that analogy. Okay? So you have to think about your position in life as a kingdomship, as a king, as a ruler. What will be left and what will be taken? All kingdoms must come to an end, or at least be transmuted into something different. When it is your time for your kingdom to be passed on to the next heir, or it is your time to dissolve your kingdom and move on to other things, whether through death or what have you, what will be left and what will be taken? In an infinite game mindset, you will have things that people will be able to utilize after you are gone that you have no care about because that's not your concern. And in a magical and a spiritual mindset, depending on really what you believe, you'll have to make the judgment call here. You'll be taking things with you as well. You'll be taking your consciousness and your experiences, and you'll be moving on to the aether and building upon these things that you have learned. So think about that when you're running your kingdom and you're planning these next stages out. What will be left and what will be taken? Okay. The areas of a kingdom. You have your military section, you have your land, you have your society, and you have your economy. Now, I've thought about these for a long time, and these are the 4 bases that I can fit just about everything in. In fact, I can't think of anything I could not fit into one of these. And this is where you build from. This is every person who has a kingdom. Every person is a king. They have these 4 areas. Some may have more land, while others may have more economy. Some may be very social, while others have better military. So you have each of these 4, and it's time to do an assessment on each of these 4 to figure out where is your strong suit and where is your area that you need to build in your kingdom. Okay? So land. Land has borders. You have a border to your kingdom. The border is where the influence starts to wane drastically and you no longer can control that. Okay? If you look at it from a job analogy, a border of your job would be where you no longer have, if you're a manager, you no longer have management power over another team because they have their own manager. So there's an overlap where that ends, your border ends, and another border begins, or another land begins. So that's just an analogy. Don't limit yourself to that thinking. But a border is where your influence starts to wane. Then you have real estate. You have the fertility of your land. How much production can your land generate? So inside your realm of influence, can you generate wealth? Can you generate a good yield, a good life for your society in your social structure and hierarchy? What is the level of influence in your land? Is your land well desired? Do people want more of what you have? Or you have a rocky patch that you can barely grow weeds on? Is their land contested? This goes back into that other part. Is people want more of your land? Do they want more of your real estate? And they overlap, and there's gray areas because contested land can also be contested consultants, contested friends. where it's like, hey, I would rather have Jim be my friend than them have that guy be his friend because, he can help me and do my thing, and, we make a good partner. So are people reviving for your attention and your land? And then areas of expanse. Where can you expand your land into? Where can you grow your kingdom and spread, right? Land is a weird, it's not even a duality. It's more than duality because it can be molded and meshed into different types. We could be talking physical real estate, real assets, real land, real buildings, or we could be talking intellectual land, intellectual property, intellectual development. We could be talking social development, social land. How far out does your network work? Even though that's really more of the society, you can see how they can intermesh together. So when you're thinking of, and you're doing your analysis on your land, be thinking of things like this. And you need to jot this all down. You need to jot what the area of fertility is, what the real estate you have, like how, and you got to be honest with yourself. I'm doing this for myself, and that's why I decided to make a video for you, because I have goals, I have things I want to grow into, and I'm going to work that magically. But first I have to figure out where I'm at now in my kingdom, in my realm of influence, because I have no idea. I can go and say, I want to do a spell to get, 2 apartment buildings. Does my kingdom, is it able to support 2 apartment buildings right now? No. It will break me. I'll be in debt and my kingdom will fall. And I'll be honest with y'all. Like, I'm very transparent. So what do I have to do to build my kingdom up to afford or to acquire and bring those into my realm of influence? Well, I'm not going to get too detailed, but I know what I have to do on the economy side because I've did the analysis there. So land in a nutshell, right? So when you start doing your analysis, write down everything that would fall under the land category, how much of an asset it is to you, how much of a pro and a con it is. We'll get to this here in just a minute with more examples. Society, family, friends, work associates, your neighbors, the local community or community, whatever. I messed up on that. Local laws and your people, right? We all have your people. You are my people. You are my people in the sense that you jive with me. I jive with you. I'm sure if we had a conversation on the street, we'd be pretty cool. We might move some of you up to the friends or family section because we jive so well, right? So your people are the people that you get along with that are not necessarily friends or family or work associates, but people that have common relations or common ideas, common thoughts, common interests. Those are your people. And the reason why they can be in your realm, they can be in your kingdom, is because you most likely can help each other. They have their own kingdom, you have a kingdom, let's get together and share the harvest and prosper, right? So your people can be in your kingdom. You can influence them based on how they think of you. And this is not influence in a negative way, this is just influence, like in general. So positive or negative, keep that out of your head because that's up to you how you use it. It's a dual-edged sword. All right. So local laws as well fall into society, both your personal moral and ethical laws and the laws of the social area you live in. We all live in various different parts of the world. There are some places where it's illegal to collect rainwater. There are some places where it is mandatory to collect rainwater or, do some kind of permaculture nature type things. So the local laws will also dictate kind of your realm of influences and kingdom's laws and how the social structure will work with inside your kingdom. So how you interact with all these people and how they interact with you and the social hierarchy that dictates where you're at inside their view of your kingdom and how you are doing in your kingdom can't often be dictated by laws, right? You can't be a cruel ruler. Well, you can, but your kingdom will probably fall soon because of the legal system's kingdom encroaching on your territory. All right? So there's things to consider, and you'll have to do mock-ups of other people's kingdoms as well to see how you sit. I know I said don't compare, but for productivity and advancement-wise on how you can grow your kingdom, you want to know what other kingdoms are doing to see who will help you. But it's not comparing them in the sense of they're better than you or not. It's comparing them in the sense of how can they help you. Okay. The economy of your kingdom. You are the economy of your kingdom. Whether you flip burgers at McDonald's or you run a CEO Fortune 500 company, your influence in your economy is what you make it. Gonna say it again for the people in the back. Back there, you nod a minute. Okay, nod. Good. Okay, you heard me. All right. Your economy, your production, your income and expenses are your influence. Whether you are a burger flipper at McDonald's, trash taker or janitor, or CEO of a Fortune 500 company, you are in control of your economy. And if you're not, you need to really focus on this area because everyone's in control of their economy. And if you focus on this area of your income, your expenses, your assets, your production, your liabilities, and your liquidity, you can quickly see areas that can boost your local economy in your kingdom and areas that will take it away. You have to do this. No kingdom runs on infinite money. Even Rome fell because of poor money management. Well, and social unrest, but really they were blowing money like nobody's business towards the end of the civilization. All right, and the constant expansion of military, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So, when you think about your economy, think about ways you spend your money, ways you produce things that are of value to earn money, the areas of money that are coming to you, your assets that you have money invested in, the liabilities that have taken your money or you have money invested in, and your liquidity. So liquidity, what I mean here in the economy of yourself and your kingdom is if the kingdom is going through a hard time, how fast can I liquidate some of my assets or in my treasury or the treasury to get the cash I need to sustain the kingdom so we can have a better day? Okay? That's liquidity. For instance, with that is I have a lot of physical silver. And we all know silver, well, if you follow, you know silver is going really high right now. But the problem with selling silver is it's not very liquid. It is easier to buy silver than it really is to sell it. I can go down to a pawn shop and buy silver. I can buy silver on eBay. I can buy it on hundreds of different sites. But now when I want to go sell silver, I got to find a buyer. I got to negotiate a price. I got to make sure that price is fair. I got to make sure it's profitable for me. You know what I'm saying? So liquidity is me going down there to the pawn shop and knowing that they will buy my silver at any price. But that's not necessarily true because they will tell me what price they're willing to buy it at, and it may not be something I agree on. But the point is, I can go down there and know, for the most part, I can cut a deal with them, get the money I need for the silver, or money for the silver, and walk out of there. That's liquidity, right? But now if I wanted to wait a little bit longer and say that the silver is less liquidable, but I wanted to gain more off of it, I can start selling it online and taking my time and working through it. It may take 3, 4, 5 weeks, but I can maximize my gains on it. Okay? So liquidity is how fast you can liquidate assets and stuff in your kingdom to help bring that cash in. Like stocks. Stocks are very liquidable. Well, for the most part. There's some situations where they're not, when they're filed for bankruptcy, things like that. It becomes very hard to sell them. But for the most part, you buy a share of stock, you can sell it back instantly 30 seconds later. So they're pretty liquidable. Homes are not as liquidable because they take time, 30, 60 days to sell them unless you want to take a huge loss. But that's beyond our discussion here, sorry. Your military. Your border protection, your allies and spiritual warriors, the fortification around your kingdoms. Who will fight for you? The expansion and conquest to gain more lands for your kingdom. This is something that is highly overlooked in modern society, even in my own front. And I didn't realize how apparent it was until I was reading Rufus's book about making sure your borders and stuff are protected. And I just thought about that. I'm like, my borders? Like, this is all my realm of influence. How would my borders not be protected or need to be protected? Why would anybody, it's just me doing my thing. And then I realized how narrow-sighted I was. Borders are more about, our military is more about building up within your own kingdom ways to protect your assets, ways to protect you physically, spiritually, ways to protect the people that you care about. I wouldn't build my house on the edge of a volcano that's active and move my family in there. So I'd protect them by finding a better location. I wouldn't move into a known high-risk drug dealing gang environment city block for my family when I have a young child. Some of us don't have a choice, and I understand that, but this is what this part's about, doing the analysis of it to figure out how we can improve. Okay? How many people on the other side got my back? How many spiritual warriors, how many spiritual protectors do I have? I know I have a fair amount. And they have helped me very much. I have so much, not really so much. I can't say that because I don't have as much as you would think when I say that, but I have a decent enough that when I had several people try to do readings on me help me for not necessarily astrology, but like geomancy and a few other things. And they're like, you are hard to read. Like there's a block getting to you. And I'm like, yes, there is. So how many people on the other side are helping you? You usually work with family members, relatives, ancestors, things like that. How many people in the mortal world have your back? How many people in your society would go to war for you and fight for you, both physically and verbally, if needed? If the shit hits the fan tomorrow, who's going to help protect your home? Who's going to help protect those assets? How will those assets be transported so other people don't take them, whether they're intellectual property or, physical property? Okay? Who protects your home? Border protection. Who protects your internet intellectual property from hackers? Who protects your spiritual mind from astral parasites? These are things to think about. And then when you go to expand and conquest, you go to conquer more lands. So you start to have those battles with local businesses that you're competing with, or local areas I don't even know for some of you, because I don't know, I'm more business minded. But, you go to compete you're buying a house and you go to compete against that person to acquire a house so you can move and be better. What people are going to help you? Do you have people that are going to fight for you by going through and helping you find the best deal or work the best contract or, put people in their place when they're trying to take advantage of you? Who here is helping you? That's the military. So the kingdom analysis, we've been talking about this for a minute now, but you have to start with the economy. At least I do. I'm more money focused. I'm not as well off as you guys are going to think I am. I'm not. Don't even think that. I'm trying to. But it all starts with the analysis of how you're doing. Where does money flow away from your kingdom? Where does money flow into your kingdom? When you're writing these down, rate the reliability of these streams of income. 1 to 5. 5 being very consistent. Okay? There's nothing that's going to be permanent. Any flow of income can be stopped. You can get fired. Your retirement can lose its pension funding and have no more to give you. Social Security can go under, as unlikely as it is. So there's always going to be a risk to the streams of income. So you rank it from 1 to 5, being very consistent and honest with yourself. What are your assets? What's the worth of these assets? What's the volatility of these assets? So volatility, how much are the prices of these assets fluctuating? Home prices, for instance, you may have a $100,000 home today. It might be $80,000 here in 6 months, or it might be $160,000 in 6 months. Okay, what the volatility of the market will motivate the changes in worth. So you have to think about these things. What's the risk of loss rating? So once again, 1 through 5, what's the risk of me losing this? Okay, if you're maxing out your credit cards, I'm in a little bit of a credit card situation myself right now. I'm just very transparent, and I'm in a very delicate area where I have to get these things paid down, or I'm risking some other financial problems. So what's the risk? What's the risk of loss? So for me on the credit cards, it's going to be high, because if I fuck up on these, sorry YouTube, if I mess up on these, I may mess up elsewhere, and it might be a domino effect. So that's a high risk for me. Risk of aversion, okay? So if you have an asset, silver is a decent investment because it doesn't fluctuate enough to lose everything you ever have overnight. Not typically. And even if it does, it has a decent balancing act to where you can keep it for a while and it'll be all right. But a high risk investment like a new startup or something, that's not risk averse. That has a high risk, right? So that'd be like a negative risk averse version. What kingdoms do you owe? Credit cards here. I got a problem with credit cards. Not like a problem, I'm always spending on them, but I'm just in a weird situation where I kind of end up using them when I'm trying to juggle some things. So I owe some credit cards. I owe kingdoms, Discover. I owe them the kingdom of Discover. I owe them some stuff. You got to analyze each of these kingdoms and how much they can influence your kingdom and interfere with your kingdom. What kingdoms owe you? All right, so what kingdoms owe you? Who have you loaned money to that owe you back? Or who have you issued credit to that owes you back, right? So what kingdoms owe you? Make sure you note those too, because those always come in handy. What can be liquidated and how quickly? Think emergency preparedness. Shit hits the fan and I need money. What goes first? Okay. The society analysis. Who lives in your kingdom? Who is visiting, or who lives in your kingdom right now? Your family. They're there in your kingdom. You talk to them daily. You're around them daily. Your friends that are really close to you. Really close people who rely on you in some manner, or you can go to for advice in some manner, or advise. Those are people who are in your kingdom. Who visits your kingdom? Some friends that maybe are not so close to you, but you hang out with. Your coworkers, they come and go as the day goes. They travel to your kingdom, or you travel into their kingdom, what have you, however you want to look at it, and you do work together, and then you go back to your relative kingdoms, right? So they pass through. Service providers, people who, massage therapists, lawyers, attorneys, they visit your kingdoms. They pass through your kingdoms, commerce, service providers again, neighbors, city folk, people around town that you don't really know, but you could just literally go up and interact with and say, hi, my name is Joe, or whatever. My name's not Joe, but hi, my name is X and X, and start that relationship. You've now influenced them, right? So now you are starting to have that bond and bringing them into your kingdom, but they were just passers through. Okay. Who all moves in your kingdom? And who knows you? And who knows who? What do they expect from your kingship, your rulership? When they look at you as you in your kingdom, what do they say? What do they expect out of you? Do they expect some wise, noble king who is, working for the interest and gain and glory of his kingdom? Or a vindictive king who thinks the world's out to fuck him and, is being bad, right? What do you think? What do they think of you currently? Just think about that and jot these things down. Kingdom analysis of land. First, lay out your borders. This is complicated and dynamic. I mentioned it before. It can change. It can move. And the more you analyze it, and the more you grow, and the more you bring in other factors of military and society and economics, the more this will change. So don't be hard and fast about this. Just be malleable. When your influence fades, you're out of your borders, right? You're out of your bounds. List anything that belongs in the land category. All promoters and detractors. So home, acreage, influence on the other land, your parents' house, fixing up friends' properties, things like that, right? Places you go. Local restaurants, bars, stores, parks. All these are within your kingdom to some degree because you go there, spend time or money with them, and you are influencing their business. If no kingdoms went to the bar would not be a kingdom. Okay, so you go to the bar with your influence and lay your money down. They provide you a service, and that little niche of land, that bar, is part of your influence because you gave them money and influenced them to stay in business. Terrain and territory that you frequent. Okay, work, grocery store, home, office, park, wherever it be. These are part of your kingdom. Some of these areas will be contested. A little hint there. And it can move. Wherever you are, your sphere of influence is. So keep that in mind. Military. Who will fight for your kingdom? Who will expand and maintain it? And who will protect your borders when you are going out and making more and expanding your territory? It's a hard one. Borders and protection of borders, to me, is the hardest concept of this because I don't know where my borders are, and that's what I'm focusing on as I go through this and building this out. In what ways can you protect your loved ones? Who are your spiritual allies and warriors? Grandma, grandpa, ancestors, Michael the Archangel. Who do you work with? Who like you on the other side? Are they mercenaries or loyalists? I forgot where I heard this from, but it's amazing. A mercenary will only help you while the money lasts. A loyalist will fight with you until the end. So that's the difference. So think about military. Think about who will help you in the tough times and how you will defend yourself in the tough times. Kingdom planning. So after you've done the analysis, you come to kingdom planning. And this is where you'll figure out where you need to move next within your kingdom and what you need to fortify and what you need to improve or what you need to take back from and move around or get rid of that's not serving you. Find the weaknesses in your kingdom because God knows your competition and people who want what you have will. Improve your friendships and relationships. The ones that are worth keeping in your society, make sure they're happy. Make sure that they're comfortable. Make sure that they like your kingship. They have their own kingdom that they're ruling too, but they need allies. They need to, marry their daughter off so that you can secure an alliance with France, So keep your friendships and relationships good for the ones that will help your kingdom grow the way you want. Improve your finances. This is so hard in the modern world. So hard. Because we have horrible financial education. But improve your finances of your kingdom and things will flow a little bit easier on land and expansion. Strategically grow your kingdom and influence. Strategically. Don't go out there and just start growing your influence and expanding without being strategic. Okay? That's what brought down the Roman Empire. They were all conquering far out lands, and the people who were left to rule at home were envious of power, and there was power struggles, and they were spending money on campaigns and war, and the treasury was going low because the taxation wasn't happening, because the lands that were conquering weren't bringing the income in, or it was being corrupted, and things weren't making it to the treasury. So don't worry about expansion. Worry about reliability of your kingdom. Which brings us to our last point. Strategic sorcery. And this is, I hope you made it this far, because this is what we talk about at the Esoteric Scholar. Sorcery. I like that phrase, strategic sorcery. Jason Miller has it a lot too. Once you know where and what is in your kingdom and how things are working and where it's going, you can start working the magic to create the change. Knowing is half the battle. Knowing what you are and where you're at is half the battle, because then you can start using strategic alliances with specific deities, angels, or spirits to help manifest the changes that are needed. Okay? If I cast a spell for $1 million, I'm not going to get it because there's no structured path to get it. If I cast a spell saying I want to make $100,000 through a business, it's pretty vague. You may get it, but still no structured paths to do it. But now if I say I need to summon a specific entity who has influence over commerce, especially in the communications section, so that my voice gets spread out and people will start to pay attention to what I'm saying and find value and meaning. Now you see what I'm saying? Now you have a path. Now you can continually work your ritual magic towards that path. All right? It's never a one and done deal. You have to continually keep pushing it forward. So direct entity help. And you can also create servitors and astral partnerships. There's kingdoms in the aether, in the astral realms. Have to be able to partner with them. If I think it was in my video, the gods. I forgot the name of it. So yeah, and that is the summary of how to analyze your kingdom in your realm of influence and start utilizing it in magical practice. So I'd recommend getting the book, The Seven Spheres by Rufus Opus. I think it's a great book. And I'll also recommend the Infinite Games book down below. And also, continue to learn more by supporting. So the esotericscholar.com, $1.50 a month is what we're going to start the tiers at. And I'm going to try to offer more stuff like this. But ultimately, I don't have a schedule yet. I just need some support. And because I got some programs coming up. I got things I'm working on for planetary magic. I got things I'm working on a technical aspect, like a correspondence database that allows you to help build the world's best correspondence database as a member, and also make favorites lists and exports and do like ritual tool things. So I appreciate it if you can support me. Go to esotericscholar.com and sign up for $1.50 a month. Thank you.